In this episode of Sailing TEHO, we explore Gun Cay, Bimini, and then make our way to the Berry Islands, where a fellow boater helps us save our boat from sinking. Well, we just went for a hike. We were trying to make it over to the lighthouse at the end of the island, but we were unprepared. We probably should have worn tennis shoes and not brought the dog with us. It got a little too corally and rocky, and we couldn't make it because we didn't want Marla to get her paws cut up, and we need shoes. So we still had a nice hike, but it didn't work out with the lighthouse. Oh well. Marla, did you get to go explore? You get to go exploring? Yeah.
Finding lizards.
You did?
Morning.
We stayed 2 nights at Honeymoon Harbor, then headed back to Bimini to get more water, fuel, Wi-Fi, and provisions. We ended up staying at Brown's Marina, which is famous for being Ernest Hemingway's old hangout.
You want to tell them where we are?
Yep, we're at Captain Bob's trying out this restaurant. I got a hamburger, and you got wings.
Yeah, got buffalo wings. Stuff we don't make on the boat.
Yeah, we got American.
Yeah, so
I was going to get fish, but they were out.
Yeah, they're out of stock.
It's not my fault.
yeah, it's out there.
That's what's going to back. That's our It's a lot of work.
Thank you very much.
We are passing North Rock, which is a aid to navigation just north of Bimini. We're about to make our turn towards the Mackey Shoal, which is in the middle of the Great Bahama Banks. It is, let's see, it's about 4:30 in the afternoon, and we're just going to try to make it as far as we can in the daylight we have left so that tomorrow we can finish the rest of the banks with some good wind that we have coming up.
So right now we're on our first leg of going through the Great Banks. We are headed to Chub Cay eventually, but we're not going to make it all the way there tonight, so probably, well, we will end up anchoring out here in the middle of nowhere, which is kind of cool. And then we'll get up in the morning, pull our anchor up, and continue sailing. And it's really cool because we have some good wind, and we're making about between 5 and 5.5 knots under sail power.
One paw for the boat, one paw for you, Mars. The other two for the boat as well. Yeah, don't you know anything? Didn't you take sailing courses?
Alright, it is about 7:15. We can no longer see... The radio hasn't gone off in forever. As soon as I start talking, it goes off. Okay, take two. It's about 7:15 and we haven't been able to see any land in a long time now. All we can see is water, which is kind of a crazy feeling. Our sailing is going awesome though. We've kept it around 5 knots or more for pretty much most of the trip. So that's good. I don't know if we've talked much about the Great Banks, but it's just this huge expanse of water that's only about 12 feet deep for the entire area. So tonight at some point we're going to be anchoring in the middle of the ocean in the dark, and we'll just sleep for a few hours, wake up and continue to sail. Why can't I talk? I know, it's not really... So we're going to drop our anchor what feels like the middle of the ocean, but it's really just the middle of the Great Banks. We won't be able to see land anywhere. We're just anchored in the middle of the water. So that'll be pretty cool. Alright, over and out. We bought some fresh Bimini bread at Captain Bob's earlier today. So for dinner, we are having peanut butter and jelly. Oh yeah. Look how fluffy that bread is.
Well, we are anchored in the middle of the Bahamas Banks. It's real weird being anchored where you can't see any land at all. This is definitely a new one for us. But we have an almost full moon, and the seas are kind of calming down. It's still a little rocky, but I think we'll be able to sleep through it. We're all pretty tired after today. So we got about 6 hours of sleep here coming up, 6 or 7, and then we're going to start again tomorrow and try to make it the rest of the 55 miles. Around 3 o'clock, after only 3.5 hours of being anchored, we went ahead and pulled anchor up and just got back to the...
Back underway.
Yeah, back underway, got back on our course line, and just went halfway through the night. So the sun's coming up right now, feeling a little bit better. We're motor sailing and the wind is changing in our benefit, so hopefully here in just a few minutes we'll be able to just full on sail. So we have made it over 60 miles through our Bahama Banks crossing. and we're exhausted. We didn't sleep much last night, and it's been rocky all day. And then the worst thing happened. Our engine stopped again. I found a loose wire on our inline fuel pump, which I guess caused the vacuum to stop, and we stopped getting fuel to the Raycor filter. Anyways, a couple wire crimps and some little things like that, and we had it all back and working. Oh yeah, and I'm the only crew that ever does anything around here. Look at that. So we just passed through the Northwest Channel. We are in much deeper water now. I guess we spent like the last 60 something miles in 12 to 20 foot of water, and now our depth sounder won't even register. Anyways, the waves have gotten a lot bigger as well. It's not too terrible, but it's not all that comfortable.
We can finally see Chub Cay. I was starting to think that it didn't really exist. This is Chub Cay. We made it after a 22-hour passage across the Great Banks. Kind of looks like Florida. They do have pretty sunsets. Chub Cay is a privately owned island in the Berries. It felt a little bit deserted. The marina was closed but had fuel and water available. The deckhand at the marina let us bring Marla to shore and kindly disposed of our small bag of trash for us without charging. He told us that they typically charge $25 a bag. We stayed one night at Chub Cay, then headed to Fraser's Cay to pick up a mooring ball.
So, it's not always easy to film the bad parts, and we just missed a really bad one. We came over to Fraser's Hog Cay and tied up on a mooring ball. We promptly had a squall that twisted us up and sent the mooring ball under our boat. And what we're thinking happened is the mooring ball hit exactly on our knot meter. On our speed sensor, which is in a through hole right on the side of our, like right by our keel. So it hit it and broke the housing. So all of a sudden we were just sitting here, and the bilge pump kept going off and off and off, and so we ran it for a long time, and then it just immediately started going off. Listened for water, found it, and we had a legit hole in the boat. Luckily we had some plugs. So I've already got it plugged. So this goes through a through hole. This sits down in the water and spins as we go, and it's supposed to tell us what our speed is. It's never worked. We probably should have just taken it out and plugged this hole up. But as you can see, this part is broken, and this part is the thread that fits down on the plastic fitting that's down in there. This is all supposed to be one. These two things right here are supposed to be one piece, and screw this thing down. So that mooring ball hit this, which was out in the water, popped it like that. So now we have a plug installed, and we don't know what to do next. We got on the VHF, and there's like 6 boats around. Luckily everybody had their radio on. We had 2 guys come over pretty quick. One of them, Keith was his name. I can't even talk. Fuck.
What Jeremy was trying to say was, Captain Keith saved us by giving us a spare blinking plug for the knot reader. But sometimes it's hard to talk when you're flustered from having a hole in your boat. A hole in your boat, people. Anyways, lesson learned. Make sure you keep several spare blinking plugs on board. One for you and one for a friend in need. Thanks again, Captain Keith, for saving us.
Oh, Keith, you're a lifesaver.
In the next episode of Sailing TEHO, we pick up our first hitchhiker and head to New Providence Island.
There goes a sight from my soul.